Hello everyone. Today we will going to our book review on Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Here I'm Vivek Yadav. We are a group of three members here, including Tejas Goel and K. Arnav. So unfortunately Arnav is not present here. So we both Vivek and Tejas will present this review. Next. So we will start with the summary. So Raskolnikov was a student who was pursuing law, and he was living in a tiny apartment in St. Petersburg. He was intelligent, but mentally and emotionally was very unstable because he was living in poverty, driven by poverty, and he was driven by an kind of extra theory of extraordinary men, uh, being like Napoleon, who believes that to be an extraordinary man, there is not such thing called morality exist in the world. And so basically he through this vision he murders pawn broker Eliana, believing that he can use her money for good causes. So he starts with basically he was in debt, and he was in great need of money. So one day what he planned was he went to basically house of uh, pawnbroker, and he decided how he will kill her. So he judged all basically kind of uh, uh, appearance of the room, how he will kill her, and so on. So after the murder, Raskolnikov spirals into guilt and paranoia and confusions. He isolates himself, becomes ill, and and also on the same time he also felt guilty, kind of guilty also, what he has done. But meanwhile, when investigated started by Porfiry, who was a detective and who suspected him like he had killed her, but he wasn't sure since he had not any uh, proper evidence to convict him. Uh, Meanwhile, he got a letter from his mom regarding that her sister is going to married, but he felt like his sister is getting married to a person whom she doesn't love, but was serving herself as a prostitute to have money. So this Raskolnikov doesn't liking. So what happens was that after that, one day he felt like this is something. He felt in his mind that this is something what uh, he is having also a guilt in his mind that due to his due to his debtness and not having money, his family is suffering, and his sister is also getting married to a person whom doesn't love. So after that, what happened was like um, there was kind of a gathering, a meetup in the restaurant where basically his mom had came and his sister. There they discusses regarding uh, his basically Raskolnikov put his opinion that uh, since since his sister doesn't love him, so there is no kind of obligation or something like that she used that she is going to marry the person. Uh, Now what comes was like uh, after this he met one day after he met so basically after that day he met a person in the club where uh, he met mm, where he met a person who was working as a clerk, and also and he also came across his story regarding that he how he came into debtness and was also suffering from uh, basically alienation and all that stuff. So through this, he learns that basically uh, that not not also him, but through that story he also came to know that not only him, the person whom he was meeting was also suffering from this. And also through the people around him, he came to know about the uh, uh, basically the pawn maker who was earning money, and uh, who used to just extract the money of people's, and make the people in debt. So what happened next was like, uh, one day he come to the realization that what he has done is wrong, and he should surrender it and suffer what he has done. So next day, he told to basically uh, he told Sonia that he's not feeling good regarding what he has done, and he should surrender himself of what he has done. So he tells about it, and then one day he goes to Porphyry, and then that though he told that he has committed uh, that crime of killing the pawn maker. So then after that, what happened was that Porphyry told him that since uh, he has basically uh, that he has admitted that he had committed the killing of pawn maker. So he won't have a death sentence, but have a 9 year of jail. So the story ends with the fact that uh, deals with the alienation and the existential crisis of uh, Raskolnikov, about what he. So basically, the story revolves around post Raskolnikov, when he uh, kills the pawn maker, and the post change in Raskolnikov when he kills. So it dwells between two, that what he felt like before. He felt like that what he has done is not wrong. He has done for the society, that he has killed the pawn maker since he has done for the society. But now he felt that what he has done was wrong, and it's something that he shouldn't have done it. So at the end, the story uh, makes a lasting impact on ourselves, like uh, that we should uh, basically think about our deeds, what we do, and that what we might think might not be correct regarding what he thought was like. He compared himself with like Napoleon, who thought like everything what we do is correct. Like he doesn't believe in the God, something like there is something called a God who has, and he say that there is anything called what you do uh, is always correct. I mean, so in the later stages of the novel, this is what happens. So Tejas, about the theme, can go ahead.
Hello everyone, I'm Tejas. I'll be discussing the theme of the multiple themes of the novel. The primary theme of the novel is guilt and redemption. The novel revolves around how guilt consumes Raskolnikov and how his confession in the end offers him a path to salvation. I would like to say that uh, the theme is not only around guilt; it is also about his uh, how can I put this better? It is also about his fear, his alienation, and the fact that the inner punishment which he feels is far greater than any outer punishment which he could have been given. Uh, Another theme is moral ambiguity. No person is uh, entirely good or bad, but we can see shades of both in every person. We see it in the pawnbroker. She's an innocent person. She lends people for money, yet she also shows greed. Uh, The businessman who's going to marry Dunya, Raskolnikov's sister, also exhibits greed, but he was also like his moral character was influenced by his childhood and his past trauma. So we can see that every character is morally ambiguous, but there are also some good characters like Sonia, the person who helps Raskolnikov at the end. Isolation versus connection. Yes, I feel uh, like the main one of the main themes was isolation. After Raskolnikov comes back from killing Aloyna, we see that he is completely isolated. He's in a feverish state and he feels guilt and fear. But the main thing was that before the murder, also, if there was someone to help him through, or if he would have opened himself to someone to like get help uh, and like try to embrace his feelings, he did not do that. He instead chose a way out. He tried to uh, make up a new thing called this Superman theory, through which he thought that his actions were justified instead of actually embracing his true emotions. And true punishment is actually internal in nature. What you feel from the inside is like far worse than what you would get from like going to jail. Now I'm going to analyze some characters, the main characters of the novel. Raskolnikov was the protagonist. He was a brilliant student, yet he was very arrogant. We see that he's living in extreme poverty. He struggles with the Superman theory, and but at the end, his plan quickly unravels. We see that psychologically, he he's battling himself. Sometimes he feels that he's done the right thing. Sometimes he feels that he's not done the right thing. And ultimately, his like the inner compassion, his conscience, like guides him through towards the end. But for a long time, he was not uh, in a very good mental state. Sonia Marmeladov. Sonia is actually the daughter of Marmeladov, who died after squandering all the family money. She had a very uh, sad and traumatic childhood because her mother was very rich, and initially they were from a good family. She was studying and everything, but towards the end, after his father became a drunkard and squandered all the money, he she had to sell herself her body to earn some money, which was like very sad. But the main thing is that she never loses hope. She sacrifices herself for her family. She aspires, believes in God and the true. So I'm not saying that believing in God is the right thing, but believing in something which actually helps you is very important. Another thing is the embodiment of forgiveness. The ability of Sonia to forgive Raskolnikov at the end actually leads to Raskolnikov's redemption. Dunya was uh, the sister of Raskolnikov. She was very strong and self-respecting, and although she agreed to marry Luzin for her family, she was a strong and independent woman. And when Svidriy Gelov tried to force himself on her, she did not let him and defended herself. Svidriy Gelov was uh, a businessman. He was the person Dunya used to work for earlier in the story, and he was not a very good person. He tried to drive himself into Dunya's life, which is obviously not the right way to form connections. But he also had a traumatic childhood which influenced him. That is not to say that that justifies his acts in the future, but I think yes, that the whole novel revolves around the fact that no one is actually able to deal with their emotions very well. Razumikin is Raskolnikov's friend. He actually tries to help him when he's in the feverish state after he commits the murder, but uh, obviously was not able to like help entirely. But he tries to stick with him and tries to help him towards the end because obviously he was a very loyal friend, and also he was a very like simple person. He was optimistic, he was hardworking, he was kind-hearted, and he was the kind of person who you would like as a friend. Then there's Detective Porphyry. he was a very good detective. He uses psychological tactics instead of force. Even though he suspected that Raskolnikov had committed the murder, he does not like go all out on him or try to like get a confession out. He actually like engages in conversation. He tries to like tries to corner him psychologically, tries to like play a cat and mouse game. That is what he does, and that actually leads to the arrest. Marmeladov was Sonia's father. He was like he was a government official. He was doing very well in his life, and then when things went south, he self-destructed, and he acknowledged the fact that he was self-destructing towards the end. He was like, "I've not done very well, and I want forgiveness for my family." But the truth is that you have to have awareness before you self-destruct. Self-awareness is a very important factor in living a life with a higher SQ. Livaveta Ivanovna was an innocent victim. She was the sister of the pawnbroker, and she was killed in panic because Raskolnikov was shocked that he was not expecting her actually. So that was the brief character analysis. Now I'll talk about critique of society. So this whole novel actually critiques society. It is a very strong critique of the social and intellectual climate of the society. It is set in 19th century Russia, but I think it is very relevant in today's date as well. It uh, challenges totalitarian ideas and portrays them as cold and dangerous when applied to real lives, like the Napoleon theory. And uh, society's treatment of the poor is also a very big theme and critique, I would say, because at the start of the book, Raskolnikov was actually very scared to even go down because his landlord lived downstairs, and he was like, if I go down, then he'll see me, and he had not paid his rent. So like he would try to extract his rent from me. So he was actually scared to leave his house, which actually shows that the treatment of poor in the society there was not very good. Sonia had to sell herself, and Marmeladov descended into this drunkardness. So uh, yeah, it did not make for a very pleasant society. And corruption is like a byproduct. It is not a byproduct of poverty, but I would say that when a person who is in need does not seek help or is not given help by the society, like all these characters we've just encountered, they will like there's a very high probability that they will descend to the wrong side. Because when you have no one to talk to, when you cannot express your opinions clearly, uh, like you lose yourself in that moment, I would say. And that is why poverty pushed people into crime. And gender and power was also a very big uh, critique here, because we see that Dunya, who was Raskolnikov's sister, was actually like she had to marry Luzin because of her family pressure. I wouldn't say pressure, but to help her family, because Luzin was a well-doing person, and mm, Luzin treated her like an object. I would say Luzin wanted to like he thought that he was doing a very big favor to the family by marrying her, which is not true at all, because uh, we can clearly see that in that society, men and women were not equal, but which is not true at all. Men and women deserve equal rights. And the symbolism. So I would say that the dreams which Raskolnikov had were like symbolic of the internal struggle he was having, like the horse beating dream. He was a person who was beating the horse, and he was also a person who was sympathizing with the dying horse. So that actually uh, showed his dual mindedness. And I would say that if Sonia was not there, he would have descended into paranoia, even like split personality disorder. It won't be like a stretch to say that. Uh, he like Dostoevsky uses symbolism very powerfully. He shows like he tries to show surroundings as claustrophobic, dirty, oppressive. He tries to symbolize guilt and helplessness through various artifacts. And Sonia's cross, when Sonia gives Raskolnikov a cross, the Christian cross, it actually symbolizes suffering, faith, and the possibility of redemption. So I would say that symbolism was very well used in the story, and it was like a very well thought out story. So so the writing style was very philosophical in nature. I would say it had some narration. It also had some internal thoughts. It also had like some first person narratives and narration. And I would say that it tried to portray everything. Like it tried to show all aspects of every person. And the novel was very successful in that. Like obviously the main character was Raskolnikov and we focused more on him. But I would say the philosophical side of the prose, that is what I like the most because every line makes you think, is something right, is something wrong? Should you like agree with the author or not agree with the author? Like Dostoevsky uses like indirect discourse to merge Raskolnikov's thoughts with the narration. And like that helps in internal monologue and philosophical reflection. Eventually I would like to say that uh, like we see that if I compare it to other books, I would like to say that people with high SQ, high EQ were there, like Sonia, but there are also people like low SQ and low EQ, like Raskolnikov. And we see that, like in Metamorphosis, the author struggles with his internal thoughts a lot. Uh, so, yes, that's all from my side. Uh, Vivek, if you would like to take over from here.
Next slide.
There are only 30-40 seconds remaining in the like meeting, so can you like please wrap it up? Thank you.
So coming on to the originality and impact. This is one of the first novels to explore psychological realism so deeply regarding how Raskolnikov feels after the killing the pawn maker, a pawn, and then he blends with crime drama with philosophy and rare at a time. So many of the writers influenced like Kafka and Camus. After that, it's continued to be. Sorry for the interruption. So this novel continues to be relevant today for its insights into human nature and morality. Now, talking about the conclusion, next slide. So, Crime and Punishment is not just a murder story. So, it is a profound exploration of guilt, redemption, and what it means to a human. So, we could see like Raskolnikov feels with alienation, and after post murder of Ilyana, he feels like what he has done is not correct morally and also ethically. And talking about uh, post murder, he feels like the true redemption he could get is through suffering only. Now, a timeless masterpiece that challenges readers to think about morality, suffering, and salvation. So, thank you.